friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. R. Balasashireka, Assistant Professor, Department of Food Science and Nutrition, Avinashlingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. Today, let me see the module on correlational study, case reports and case series. A correlational study is a type of research designed to understand the kind of relationship occurring between variables with one another and none of the variables are manipulated. Simply, correlational research helps to figure out if two or more variables are related or not, and if so, how. Case reports and case series is a method of descriptive study wherein the unusual typical features about an individual or a group of individuals are gathered. They pave way for the new research questions. Generally, case reports and case series are questions or enquiries or investigations about a patient or group of patients in a clinical setting. These methods act as a beneficial tool in medical history and focus on the contextual analysis of a number of events or conditions and their relationships. They invoke critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making skills of the investigator. Each method has its own advantages and limitations. By the end of this module, the learner would be able to understand the concept of three basic types of correlational studies, describe case reports and case series, learn the steps involved, questions to be included, and the advantages and disadvantages of both case reports and case series. Correlational study. Correlation can be defined as the relationship between two variables. A correlation coefficient is a quantitative measure of association between two variables. Correlational studies are performed in situations where an experiment is impossible as they involve the relationship between two or more variables. It is used in conditions to check whether a relationship exists between the variables and these variables are not under the control of the researcher. The relationship existing between the variables may or may not prove that changes to one variable lead to changes in the other variable. So, they cannot prove cause and effect relationship. Correlations can be strong or weak as well as positive or negative. Sometimes there might be no correlation between the variables of interest. It is a type of research often used in psychology to gather preliminary information about a topic of interest or about a situation. It is important to identify the correlational study for a research as they have their own strength and weaknesses. Purpose of correlational research. The outcomes of correlational research may be either a positive correlation, a negative correlation, and no correlation. The correlation coefficient is a measure of the correlation strength and can range from -1 to +1. Let me see in detail about positive correlation, negative correlation, and no correlation. Positive correlation. In this type of correlation, both variables increase or decrease at the same time. When two variables move in a same direction, the correlation is said to be positive. If there is an increase in one variable, the other variable also increases and vice versa. A correlation coefficient close to +1 indicates a strong positive correlation. For example, if number of cigarettes taken by an individual is more, higher the chances of being infected. Or when there is plenty of water, higher is the yield. Next, the negative correlation. This type of correlation indicates that as the amount of one variable increases, the other variable decreases and vice versa. When two variables move in opposite direction, the correlation is said to be negative. A correlation coefficient close to -1 indicates it is strongly negative. Example, as the supply of a product increases, the cost reduces. No correlation. This indicates that there is no relationship between the two variables. In no correlation, variables move in no connection with each other. If there is an increase in one variable in one situation, the other variable may increase or decrease in some other situation. It does not mean that the variables are not related. A correlation coefficient of 0 indicates no correlation. The figure given below clearly indicates the three types of correlation for positive, negative and no correlation. In the first picture, the points lie close to a straight line which indicates a positive gradient. That is, this shows that as one variable increases, the other variable also increases. In the second picture, the points lie close to the straight line but has a negative gradient. From this we can observe that as one variable increases, the other variable decreases. In the third figure, we can see that there is no pattern in the points. This shows that there is no connection between the two variables. Coming to the limitations of correlational studies. Correlational research suggests that there is a relationship between two variables but cannot prove that one variable causes a change in another variable. In other words, correlation does not equal causation. For example, a correlational study might suggest that there is a relationship between academic success and self-esteem, but it cannot show if academic success actually causes changes in self-esteem. Other variables might play a role, including social relationships, cognitive abilities, personality, socio-economic status and myriad other factors. The types of correlational research. Yes, there are three types of correlational research. Number one is naturalistic observation. This method involves observing and recording the variables of interest in the natural environment without interference or manipulation by the researcher. It is a variable that is naturally occurred without no change or manipulation by the experimenter from natural conditions. The naturalistic observation finds importance when there is no possibility of lab experimentation. For example, the difference in weight among the individuals, smoking habit among the people. Some students think education is interesting, some think it is boring and some meaningless. So it depends upon the naturalistic condition. The advantages of naturalistic observation is that opportunity to view the variable of interest in a natural setting. It offers ideas for further research. Only option if lab experimentation is not possible. Coming to the disadvantages, it is time consuming and expensive. It does not allow for scientific control of variables. It cannot control extraneous variables and the subjects may be aware of the observer and may act differently. The second method is the survey method. Survey method is simple to perform as a set of survey questions is developed by the researcher prior to the study. Surveys and questionnaires are among the most common methods used in psychological research. In this method, a random sample of participants completes a survey, test or a questionnaire that relates to the variables of interest, making use of interview, mail survey, email or through internet. It helps to reach large number of samples quickly. Random sampling is a vital part of ensuring the generalizability of the survey results. The advantages of the survey method is that it is faster, cheap and easier to conduct. It can collect large data in a relatively short period and it is more flexible than any other method. But still, it has certain disadvantages like it is affected by an unrepresentative sample or poor survey questions. Also, the participants can affect the outcome. That is, some participants try to please the researcher or lie to make themselves look better or have mistaken memories. The next one is archival research. This type of research is performed by analyzing studies that are previously collected by other researchers or by looking at historical patient records and looking for correlations. There is no control over the data by the researcher on archival research, but large data can be gathered with little effort and is available free of cost with no money. For example, a researcher may examine the crime statistics of several neighborhoods to see if there is any correlation with crime and a sluggish housing market in particular areas. The advantages of archival research are: it cannot introduce changes in participants' behavior. Enormous amount of data provide a better view of trends, relationships and outcomes. It is less expensive than any other study methods. It can be accessed through free archives or record databases. The disadvantages of archival research are: they have no control over how data was collected. Sometimes important dates may be missing from the records or previous research may be unreliable. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the types of correlational studies. Correlational studies make use of secondary data for two or more variables from different sources. They try to determine an association between the variables. The most commonly used sources of secondary data are from governmental databases or reports of international agencies. For example, cigarette sales per capita versus incidence of lung cancer or number of cars registered in a city versus number of deaths due to road traffic accidents. This can be also done on an international level for different countries, like literacy level or income per capita versus infant mortality rates. Correlational studies are more commonly conducted at national or international level. It is relevant to carry a correlational study on hospitalized data or hospital-based data. For example, the number of patients being admitted in a day from the hospital records versus the number of dosing errors from the pharmacy or quality assurance department or nosocomial infections from the infection control department. The main advantage of correlational studies is that they are quick and inexpensive since they are based on secondary data, which is already available from different sources. Probable association shown in the correlational studies might be due to some other underlying factors and not due to the variables being considered and is termed as ecological fallacy. For example, there is a positive association between the number of television sets per household, it may be in different countries, and the education performance of the school children. Though there may be other variables associated with educational performance cannot be interpreted. Next, we will move on to case reports, which is also known as the case study. Case reports or case study can be termed as a descriptive study of a single individual. It is based on clinical evaluations and history of the individual. Hence, the possibility of an association between an observed effect and a specific environmental exposure is studied. A case report is the smallest publishable unit in the literature. They are prepared to illustrate features of an unusual individual. They lead to additional knowledge by the investigator. It aims to optimize decision making by using evidence from well-conducted research. Case reports are proposed to have significant educational value because they advance knowledge and constitute evidence, but they provide only descriptive or narrative results. Case reports are useful in identifying a new phenomenon. They help to generate a hypothesis for the association between exposure and outcome, which may include particular exposures, symptoms, signs, interventions, or outcomes. Generally, case reports describe the clinical circumstances of a single patient and hence not highly appreciated in research. As case reports describe the clinical circumstances of single patient, their hierarchy is less. Now, let me take an example for case report. This example presents a study of an young adult aged less than 30 years who has been smoking since the age of 8 years along with his elder brothers. The case report is a presentation of an abnormal finding or outcome which otherwise would not be present. It describes the case in detail, presenting the abnormal findings, but is generally limited in demonstrating an association between the risk factor and the disease. The argument is that this finding may be due to chance or coincidence without there being a real association between the risk factor and the outcome. Now, we will move on to next topic on case series. Case series, it is nothing but a study of a small group. Case series report aggregates individual cases into one publication. It is a collection of cases with the same outcome or finding. Case series generally involve multiple persons or subjects or patients. It is a qualitative research method but have a descriptive study design. The general number of cases reported in a case series range from 20 to 50 but may vary from as few as 5 to as many as more than 100. Cases may be identified from a single or multiple sources. Generally, case series report on new or unique condition. Case series have a retrospective look at series of cases that have common features. They do not in themselves involve hypothesis testing to look for evidence of cause and effect. They include in-depth analysis or experimental enquiries of a group of persons. They focus on the contextual analysis of series of events or conditions with their relationships. Case series have a protocol before commencement of data collection, that is, well-defined inclusion and exclusion criteria, a standardized follow-up, and clear reporting of the number of excluded subjects and those lost to follow-up. Case series of more than one in number may allow narrative or quantitative synthesis. The main limitation of a case series study is the absence of a comparative group. The outcome is really associated with the exposure or not cannot be assured. Generally, it is easy to select a matching group of subjects who are not diseased and determine the exposure to the risk factor in that group as well. Biomedically, case series experience a group of patients with similar characteristics. They assess prevalence of a disease condition. It may be said that it is a realistic design for rare disorders. They measure common diagnosis, treatment which is present in the literature already. Each case may be separately described or the cases may be lumped together with data summaries. They are useful for hypothesis generation. Information for every rare disease with few established risk factors can be identified. It characterizes averages for a disorder. The main disadvantages about case series is that they cannot study cause and effect relationship. It cannot assess the disease frequency, especially vulnerable to a selection bias. Internal validity of case series studies is usually very low due to the lack of a comparator group exposed to the same array of intervening variables. In the above example, which we saw earlier, a study may show a number of young adult smokers presenting with heart disease. It is still a chance of this being only an incidental finding, and the real reason may be due to some other common factor. It may be other risk factors such as cigarette smoking, lack of exercise, unhealthy diet, and family history, etc. Now, we will move on to the stages in conducting the case reports and case series in research. There are 8 steps involved in this. The first stage is conceptualization and formulation of idea about a particular topic. Selection and emphasizing a particular phenomena. Third one is preparation of research questions. Next, collection of raw data through interviews, observations or documents from previously available sources like files, reports, articles, proposals, etc. The next step is organization, classification and editing the raw data into an accessible data. Interpretation and triangulation of observations, selection of alternative interpretation, and finally the report writing in a holistic and systematic manner. Yes, the characteristics of well-constructed case reports and case series. The case reports and case series should have certain characteristics. It should be holistic, that is, characterizing and interconnecting all the factors of the study intimately. It should be context sensitive, that is, the study of interest must be appropriate to the context with no deviations exhibiting behavior depending on the case or situation. The case report and the case series should be comprehensive, that is, it should include all the elements and aspects of the study. It should be systematic, that is, carrying out the study in a systematic way, following the steps meticulously. Finally, it should be layered, that is, arranging the observations and results in a coherent and systematic way. So, these are certain characteristics to be possessed in case reports and case series. Okay, what are the questions to be included in case report and case series? There are few questions to be answered. So, while preparing a questionnaire, these questions must be kept in mind. That is, what exactly the cases? How are the cases identified and selected? What kind of case it is? What is the purpose of the study? What is the reliable evidence? What is the objective evidence? What appropriate selection to be included from the generated data? Under what circumstances it is fair to conduct the case? What kind of sampling to be chosen? So these are some of the questions to be included in the questionnaire. Hence we can conclude that case report and case series are useful for identifying new concepts or different presentations for a particular condition, while the correlational studies are more applicable on general data obtained from secondary sources. Correlational studies help to interpret the degree of association between the variables. Correlational studies cannot be applied under experimental or laboratory conditions. Archival type of correlation studies play a role in case series and in case reports. The value of case series and case reports in medical literature is controversial among the physicians. Despite their limitations, case reports and case series are beneficial tools in research. The preparation and presentation of case series and reports can help researchers acquire and apply competencies in several areas of medical, literature, management, psychology through practice-based learning, system-based practice, professionalism, and communication. They also provide a tool for developing all-round skills through problem-based learning methods. In a similar way, journals should also encourage the publication of case series and reports through a commonly applied peer review process, and professionals should publish case series and reports to educate the learners in all fields of research.